evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Dennis Stockman, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Major Matthew Dingley. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Club Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During the ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of a pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. Please stand and join in singing the national anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Flight Sergeant John Renton Power. Born in Middle Park, Melbourne on the 24th of June 1920, John Power was one of 5 sons born to Ernest and Mary Power. He grew up in Melbourne, attending Christian Brothers College in Middle Park and then St Kilda, before going on to Christian Brothers Training College in Sydney, training to be a teacher. A keen sportsman, he represented his school in football, cricket, swimming, tennis, handball and gymnastics. Power enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force in January 1943 and began training as an air bomber. As part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, Power was one of almost 27,500 RAF pilots, navigators, wireless operators, gunners and engineers who, throughout the course of the war, joined squadrons based in Britain. In June 1943, Power travelled to Canada, where he undertook further specialist training. In November 1943, John Power learned that his brother, who had also enlisted in the RAF, had been killed in action over Italy while serving with No. 39 Squadron, Royal Air Force. While in Canada, Power spent some time at a ranch in the heart of the Rocky Mountains and met with his brother Laurie, who was graduating as a pilot. Power became engaged to a Miss D. Bullis of Lethbridge, Alberta. However, they did not get a chance to marry before Power was sent to Britain. There, Power undertook further training before he was posted to No. 463 Squadron, which flew the 400 Avro Lancaster heavy bomber. On the 22nd of December 1944, the Lancaster, in which Power was a crew member, crashed after returning from a raid on Politz in Germany, now in the Czech Republic. The winter weather that night was atrocious, and Power's Lancaster was one of 5 to crash on return. Of Power's crewmates, only one crew member, the upper gunner, survived the crash. Power and 5 of his crew members were killed. John Power was 24 years old. In a ceremony a week later, on the 29th of December, all 6 crew killed in Lancaster PB 688 were buried side by side in the Royal Air Force section of the Cambridge Cemetery. In a letter written to Power's father, the commander of No. 463 Squadron wrote of the gratitude of all members of the squadron. It is men such as he who have built the magnificent traditions of the services by their personal courage, self-sacrifice and unfaltering devotion to duty. And their memory will be perpetuated by the ultimate victory of the cause for which they gave their lives. Power's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian Memorial. We now remember Flight Sergeant John Renton Power, who gave his life for us and for our freedoms in the hope of a better world.
They shall grow not old as we the left grow old. Age shall not weary them, or the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, in Australia, it's over, but in Australia they'll be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. Thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial, and good evening.